And there's my friend Gina joining us right now. So I got us recording. My name is John Cassidy. I welcome everybody to The Naked Truth. It's a series that I've teamed up with a bunch of other folks and some experts on different topics in business. And today we're going to do The Naked Truth about good versus great, of how a lot of people want to be good at something. But what I found out through people like Mr. Jonathan Henderson that's on with me right now and some other people is that if you're good at something, you'll never master it. Like if you accept the fact that you're good at it and you're complacent with that, you can never master it and never be great at it. So today we're just going to talk about doing that. Gina's going to call in from the airport. Okay, Gina, and we're going to have her call in. She's going to be at an airport, so it might be loud. She's letting us know ahead of time. So here she comes right now. All right, Gina's coming on. There's Gina. How are you?
Hi.
Great.
Hey, Gina.
How are you?
Awesome.
Hey, I'm calling in from a restaurant in an airport, so I'm gonna wait to see how long it is before someone gets mad at me.
No one.
And I'm gonna have a cocktail.
That's okay. Just make sure it's a great cocktail. Not a good one.
It is.
A great one. All right. So Gina,
It is great.
Today, we got Jonathan Henderson on. You guys have not met in person. You've had a blab introduction, and I hope to introduce you guys in person one day shortly. But we're talking about good versus great today on The Naked Truth, and so many people in business. Super loud. That's cool.
That's the airport.
Can you hear? Yeah, is it too loud?
No. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
All right. So many people in business, they like to be, they want to get good at something. And there's a big difference between good versus great. Jonathan Henderson introduced me to the fact of how to be great at something. And because I followed his coaching ability, we took our life from like being a good printing company, being good in our travel business, and we became great at it because we had a coach that showed us how to do that. And Jonathan, what's your feedback on people that want to be good at something compared to great?
Yeah, there you go. Just right off the bat, you talk about wanting to be good, and let me preface my segment. Yeah, but I got to call the book about Simon Sinek. Yeah, I can't even hear myself speak. So let's see.
Yeah, I had to mute her. I had to mute Gina, and I'm going to bring her on. I'm going to unmute her when she goes to talk.
I can't even hear myself. It's still going.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Yep, you can hear me? All right, awesome. Good deal. Well, I think everybody is an entrepreneur. One of the very first books that you should read is by Simon Sinek. The enemy of good. The enemy of great, as we all know, is good. If you haven't read that book, you need to pick up a copy of that book and read it. But for me personally, I'm that that how-to guy. Like, what are some of the principles that I can actually apply to my business, right now to be able to make that transition? And you said earlier, people want to be great. So why are people settling for good if they actually want to be great? And the biggest thing is, I think just people limit themselves. I believe that your limiting beliefs is one of the things that holds everybody back. And so, if you want to be great, my question is why are you not great? If you really truly want it, why are you not? And the main thing is like Gina's in an airport. I'm driving down the road doing this blab. We're actually doing something to make ourselves great. That's the one thing that most people don't understand, is that to be great, you actually have to do something. You actually have to take an action step to be able to do something. So if you're on the blab and you're like, what's this naked truth all about? We're talking about different topics and all this kind of stuff. And now we're talking about the enemy of great is good. And that's the truth. People settle for status quo. People settle for exactly where people ask me, they go, you got a massive residual income. One of your companies has over 13,000 team members in that organization. Another one of your companies is, you're launching a brand new company just to be able to help people in business and their marriage. Why are you doing that? The reason is because I am afraid of settling for average. I'm afraid of settling for just being good. And so I believe that there can be a healthy fear of wanting to be successful. And I just don't want to make myself one of these people that talk about being successful. I want to make myself one of these people that are successful. I want to actually do it. And so, at the end of the day, we actually, as leaders, okay, as business people, we actually have to leave the cave, pick out a club that we want, and go outside of the cave and actually have to hit something and kill it and drag it back home. We've got to go and win. And so people actually want it, but they don't do it. And so I want to surround myself with people that are actually doing it, like Gina, like yourself, John, instead of people that actually want it. That's
Cool.
The reason why she's on a blab at the airport and I'm on a blab driving down the road, is because we actually are going to take the action steps to become great versus the people that are wanting to become great.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Gina. I'm gonna go over to you. I wanna ask you really quick. What you do so much with so many companies, and how do you take those folks that are average performers and get them to understand the value of greatness? What are some of the things that you do? And I think the noise is going to cancel out when you start talking.
Okay. How do I sound, first of all?
Perfect.
Is that good? Okay, good. I've got really expensive Bose headphones, so that's supposed to cancel out the noise. So good.
Great headphones.
Thank you. I'm in Austin, Texas right now because I spent the weekend with my coaching clients doing a 3-day mastermind where we focus on their businesses, and it required them to spend money, to get on a plane, to go to another city, to spend time in a room together with other business owners, to focus on their business, to be vulnerable, to get uncomfortable, to work on things that they make excuses that they don't have time to work on, but to have that focus. So the work that I do as a coach and as a consultant for small businesses is pushing them, because quite honestly, I need a coach. I can't push myself 100%. I need help. So when you can admit to and be okay with needing help, that's how you're going to be great.
Mm-hmm. Taking action. You got to take action.
Taking action and making time to take action for your business. I mean, we spent 3 days really working on their businesses, and a lot of it was uncomfortable for them. And on day 3, it was a surprise to them. Day 3, yesterday, not having fun and all about having experiences in the city of Austin. And they didn't know I was going to do that. They thought, oh my God, 3 days of work. And I'm like, no, then you take a day off to have experiences, so that you can bring experiences back into your own businesses, to your own employees, to your own clients, and into your own personal life.
So one of the things I think a lot of people consider about what we're talking about being great, a lot of folks, I think, make it sound like they got to go to work, and it is work, don't get me wrong, but what I think I found with Gina and Jonathan is that folks can actually have fun, and they can get great having fun, right? So
what's fun?
What's that?
You know what's fun, John?
Tell me.
Winning. That's what's fun. You know what's
Absolutely.
not fun?
What's
Losing. That sucks. Losing sucks, right? And so I'm much more afraid of not being a winner than I am of losing. And so I love some of the facts that Gina was pointing out, that, you've got to be able to sit down and you got to be able to focus on your business. You got to be able to, pour yourself into that business. But at the same time, you can also create some experiences along the way too. And what I found is the more action you take, the more experiences you actually get to have. Would you say that that's true, Gina?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm muting myself in between. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, cool.
The more actions you take,
you get to there again. You get to win or you get to lose. And what's cool is I don't get to define what success is for you. I love that. I don't, John, I can't come on here and I can't tell you what winning is for you. I can't do it. I'm not qualified to do that. Only you are. I can't qualify what's losing for you. Only you can qualify that. But I am much more afraid of not winning than I am of losing. And so, at the end of the day, when you start talking about your business, you got to make sure that you're defining, what winning is for you. And here's the deal. If winning is something that you can see yourself achieving, and it without little effort, without little blood, sweat, and tears, then it's not big enough. I can tell you that. I can actually tell you that. And so when you start talking about good versus great, what I find funny is that there's people that they say that they're winning, but they set a goal that even if they didn't work hard, even if they didn't have to put their stuff out there, even if there was no risk involved, that they were going to be able to hit that goal. And so, realistically, for me, that's not winning, man. I want to be able to put it out there. I want to be able to set a goal that is so big, that is so great, that if I achieve it, I want somebody else to go, there is no way that is possible. There's some other reason why he hit that goal, because there is no reason for him. I know that guy. I remember that guy in high school. I remember that guy, way back when. There's no reason for him to be able to win the way that he's winning. And I want those type of goals. I want to be able to, that's the difference between good versus great to me is when you set yourself up for failure and you win. That is what's funny is we set all these goals that we're going to be able to attain and man, stick it out there. Don't be afraid to get it cut off.
Right. So, probably one of the coolest things is that I did a talk in front of for Sonic. Gina, you and I talked about that right before I was going to that. And part of it was how to take their managers from just having a good store to a great store, a great location. And here's a cool little quote that I found. It said, and it's relevant to all of our businesses. It says, good marketing makes the company look smart. Great marketing makes the customers feel smart.
Bingo.
How about that? Wow. How about, I love that quote. And just let's expand on that in our different businesses and how you see those companies doing that. Somebody that embraces that, because when they want to make themselves look smart, it could be a company or it could be an individual. That's an ego thing. When they become great, they're helping all those other folks. Gina, go take it.
In the world of improv, when we teach people improv, the number one thing that we teach is making other people look good on stage, whether it's a performance stage or the stage of business. When you make other people look good, you automatically look good, and it's almost like you didn't really do anything. There's no ego to it. You just look like a superstar because you propel other people and you win automatically.
That's awesome. No, I like I said, I love that quote. And Hindu, one of the companies that you have is the online university, and there you take people from a good education to a great education.
Man,
right?
I'm driving down the road and I can't get to my Evernote real quick because I want to write something down so bad because I don't want to forget it because of what Gina just said. And I'm actually going to apply it to some marketing that I've got with that school. And because, realistically, we understand that the definition of leadership is getting other people to do what you want them to do without them knowing that they're doing it. And when you get there, letting them think that it's their idea. And so, with that being said, that's how great marketing works also. Man, one of the driving forces behind what we do with the colleges is that we want people to be able to graduate college debt-free. We got the debt-free degree. And, man, I'm going to start making it other people's idea, not my own, that they come up with the debt-free degree. And I got to make it to where when we take this to market, that all of the students, the people that are associated with, the faculty, the infrastructure behind that university, behind that school, they've got to buy into the fact that people are graduating with a degree debt free, and I've got to make it to where they think that it's their idea and that they help build it. And so, that's the one thing that, man, I'm ready to get off this blab right now and to go kill something, right? I'm ready to get off this blab and to take some action because, man, that was a powerful statement. Gina, you just made me $1 million. Thank you very much.
Hey, wait a second. I'd like to share in that, please.
I can teach you how to do that too. So it's all good.
I love it. So how about this one? This is a good.
I'll send you on vacation. I'll send you on vacation. How about that?
Oh, she'll take you up on that, dude.
Hey, I think we really should just partner with each other and help each other be rich.
I love it. There's no better way. I think if we get to the top by ourselves, that'll suck because then we won't have anybody to celebrate with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we get to the top by ourselves, it's only good. We get to the top together, it's great.
That's why we're on this blab, baby.
I love it. Hey, so how about this one? Small minds discuss people. How many of us know people that just talk about people, right? Average minds discuss events, but great minds discuss ideas, right? So how many times your mastermind session you just had was about ideas, right? And it was about expanding and pontificating on all those type of things and making it bigger and better. And that's why you're able to help people develop from good to great. So what happens, I think everybody on this blab right now might be saying, like, what are these people talking about? Well, we're talking about ideas on how to go take your life from just good to a great life. And your definition of great is different than mine, and different than Jonathan's, different than Gina's. You just got to decide what you want to do to be great, because if you have a good life right now, you got to change something if you want a great life, right? So it's all about changes. One of the biggest changes, I think, and I want to hear Gina's story because, what's so funny is I dealt with Gina when she worked with one of the local attractions in Myrtle Beach, and she was the general manager. And she probably had a pretty good life, right? Everything was comfortable, and then something took place with the company downsizing, and Gina was faced with get a job, having a good life, or try to create great life. Gina, tell a little bit about that and what it's meant to you over just a few years.
Absolutely. I was recruited to Myrtle Beach to take over an IMAX theater as general manager, and several things happened. I had a management company and team above me that didn't want to listen to anything I had to say based on my track record, which was really stressful. And then the economy tanked. And I had an option to either find a job or start a business. And during that time in 2008, really the only option was to start a business as I kept looking for a job. So it's the best thing that could have happened to me. It was huge.
And now you have a pretty great lifestyle, and it's not about the money. I want everyone to know it's not about the money. It's because you're able to empower other people.
That's just it. I started it as a hobby to de-stress myself, when I started the improv part of the business for fun, and then it grew into something much bigger, and then it grew into multiple businesses that gave me more freedom. But now I'm able to help other businesses and other entrepreneurs have the freedom and the happiness that they want to have. So it's a win-win situation. Still it's not easy. We're talking about good to great here. Great doesn't just show up. Great. Yeah, you can have that one, Hendo. Great does not show up. You have to work at great. Good is status quo. Great takes commitment, dedication, consistency, and a drive to get there.
Right. Yeah. Iron sharpens iron, right? You got to keep working it. Got to keep working it. One of the quotes, and I like pulling up quotes to help me think about the next topic or the next bunny trail, is that if you want to achieve greatness, stop asking for permission. Right? So how many people ask for permission to do something and they just stay where they are, status quo? But you just go and do it. That's what you'll see about great entrepreneurs and people that truly are that level 5 entrepreneur, is that they'll go ahead and just do something without any permission. All of us had jobs before.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm just telling you, the number one reason why I freaking can't work a job is because I'm not going to ask somebody to go take a pee. I'm not going to ask somebody to go pee. I mean, do you ask somebody to go pee, or do you just go pee? Like, if you got to go pee, do you just go pee? Or do you have to ask somebody to go pee? Well, for me,
Dude, I'm peeing right now.
Yeah, I'm peeing right now. I'm driving down the road, blabbing, and all at the same time. No, but being truthful is that's where people are held back, is because people, they want to be great, but at the same time, nobody's told them that they can be great. Now, if you're on the blab today and we've never met, I'm gonna look right in the camera right here as I'm driving down the straight part of the road to tell you right now that you have permission to be great, that you were designed for greatness. You can be great. Quit asking everybody else if it's okay. Quit asking other people to go pee. See, to be and do.
Man, we lost you for a second there, buddy. I know you're probably up in Greenville going through some only good reception area, not great reception area. So I know you'll be back in a second. But I totally get where it was going, is that quit asking. We were designed to be greatness. Greatness is in every single one of us. Now, some of us decide to take it and grow it within and go to that next level. But sometimes we need coaches like Gina, like Jonathan, and we got to go to that next level. And it's the coaches that bring it out of us. Like we have these two little things on our shoulder. There's a little voice here talking about, hey, you're only good. What will other people think? You're not good enough. And then you got the other one that usually is a really, really faint voice that says, you could do it. You could do it. And the coaches like Gina, like Jonathan, bring it out in us to make that voice louder and see our possibilities. And we've just got to everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler, right? That's how Einstein said that. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. It is super simple to get great. Like Jonathan, are you back with us? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Refresh it. Refresh it. All right.
He's making me nervous while he's driving.
He parked.
Okay.
He parked. But Gina, why don't you you're out. Jonathan's out. Love you, brother. Happy anniversary, by the way. All right. So, Gina, it's me and you, and I love it. So what are you seeing from some of your folks out there, some new techniques to go from good to great? Do you want to share a couple things that so we got some people on here. Ron Beck, a longtime friend of mine that I happened to see him over the weekend. We hadn't seen each other in a long time, but he's a coach also and teaches people selling skills in the real estate industry. Tell us a little bit about nuggets that you tell somebody, if you want to go from good to great, what's the first thing they should start doing?
I think the first thing they have to start doing is do things that are completely out of their comfort zone to really stretch themselves. One of the things I did this weekend, in our mastermind weekends with our clients, we spend time, we look at their business plans, we look at what have they achieved thus far. We reviewed 2015. We're looking at our plans for 2016. All that's pretty simple, but what can you do that's a stretch? What can you do that's a little bit out of the norm? And I brought in a few speakers, and one of the speakers I brought in is a woman who educates people in self-publishing and how to self-publish a book. And because really a book is a marketing piece. It's another way to put yourself out there, to position yourself as an expert. It's a calling card, and it's an expense, and it's a task, and it's overwhelming. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of resistance from some of my clients. It freaked some of them out. They weren't comfortable with it from a variety of reasons. They didn't want to spend the money on it. They're like, why would I write a book? Who would listen to me? And getting them past their own doubts. And there's a lot of resistance at the beginning of it, which was uncomfortable for me because I brought in a speaker and I wanted people to be appreciative of her. But, by the time she was done presenting, they became more open. And it's again, getting people to take the next step to do something that's out of your comfort zone and being open to other people's ideas to help you get great.
Right. Yeah. So no, it's comfort zone. This is what I found out is that over the last few years, and I love my business partner, Scott Creech. He always says he didn't have a comfort zone. He had a comfort trench. And the guy wouldn't speak, he didn't
like
speak
that.
to people like he's an accountant, a production management. But what he found out was that when he expanded his comfort zone or comfort trench, that he actually expanded that greatness trench, right? So you get outside of, I think the comfort zone means the good zone. And we're all talking about like good is the enemy of great here, is that you got to go outside of that. So like this quote I just found, that no one ever achieved greatness by playing it safe. That's exactly what you're talking about, right? Comfort zone is safe zone, right? So when you get outside of that,
Being comfortable doesn't progress you forward. It just keeps you in the same place.
is it safe to say that it's really not comfortable? It's just familiar?
Well, yeah, it's the same thing. It's very familiar. It's what I know. If you can get up in the morning and like do it without having to think about it, and it doesn't hurt your head, then I don't even know if it's good. It's almost like average, subpar. You know what I mean? You got to really push yourself to the next level.
Pushing yourself is the whole thing. Is like, that it's so in us that to go to the next level, but so many of us are just, I guess we're fearful of what other people are going to think. We're so addicted to other people's opinions of ourselves that's why
I think it goes beyond. I think it goes beyond that, John. I think it's not just fearful. I think it's not just fearful of that. It's fearful of our own potential for success.
Right. How about this? We're scared of our own success, right?
Yeah, right. Because with success, there's more responsibility. In addition to what people are going to say about you, because people are going to say things about you and they're going to judge you and they're going to have an opinion about you. And the reason why is because they're not doing it. And a lot of people don't like to see people succeed because it just reminds them that they're being good versus great. Wow.
That's huge. So one of the quotes I just pulled up by famous philosopher Seneca said, "It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness." So with that, guys, greatness, to go from good to great, obviously you got to get out of comfort zone, as Gina just said. You got to go to the next level. So along the journey is going to be obstacles. There's going to be failures. There's going to be things that want to push you back to the good side, right? Because things was great. We thought things were great, but they were only good. But then we got to see some other things. We get outside that comfort zone, we start doing some things, and then we get pushed down. We try a new sales technique or a new marketing strategy, and it didn't work. Well, guess what? The folks that become great, they push through. They learn from the failures, and that's how you become great. So obviously, newer in the entrepreneur world, as you've had probably some setbacks. I don't want to say failures, but some setbacks and lessons. And now you, as a coach, teaching other people, what do you tell them about those things? Because we know they're coming, so we can't tell them they're not coming. What do you do?
It's really interesting. I on my way to the airport, my Lyft driver, I'm trying to think of his Uber or Lyft, but my Lyft driver, I love being in an Uber or a Lyft because the people are fascinating. I have some of the most amazing conversations with drivers, and this man in particular, there was something about him that moved me because he lost his business. He's an Indian businessman, and he had an Indian store, and he lost it because competition came in and took over, and it kiboshed him. And Wow. It was just really painful hearing the whole conversation. And even as a man, he was telling me how it really crushed his ego, and he watched his dreams disappear, and the stress it put on his family and his marriage. And it was really a little heartbreaking. And here's the thing in business, we all have competition, but what makes you unique? What makes you unique in your business? Because we really don't have competition if we know what our unique selling proposition is. And so that was actually my advice to him. I said, don't give up on the dream. I'm like, take a break right now from it, but learn from what went wrong and come back even better. I'm like, just because you had competition doesn't mean you can't succeed. You just need to be different.
Absolutely.
Learn from the mistakes and then come back better. Look at, I don't want to get into a political conversation, but look at guys like Donald Trump, who he filed bankruptcy many times, but he's a guy who kept bouncing back. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who don't let the failure freak them out. It's like, what can I learn from this failure, and how do I make it better next time? And don't give up.
Right. Don't give up. That's the whole thing. And it kind of helps me with a segue right now. Michael Jordan, a quote I just found from him, it says, "I believe greatness is an evolutionary process that changes and evolves." Absolutely. I agree with it. I think that greatness and achieving that greatness it's an evolving process. It truly is a process. One of the things that you said a second ago was recharging your batteries, right? So I think that in order to get where we're going, and we had a blab about that with Peter Muir about how to recharge our batteries. So the only way to get to greatness is you can't go without recharging. I'm not saying that you got to go on a vacation every 5 days or whatever. You've got to recharge and take your time and your breath and recalculate your thoughts and help yourself with that evolution. You want to speak on that?
Oh yeah, that's just it exactly, and that's exactly what I told this guy. And I tell myself the same thing. Like, and I tell myself the same thing. I get knocked down all the time. I have pity parties. I call them pity parties for one, where I'm just knocked down, and I let it kick me in the butt a little bit. But that's where you have to rest. You have to take a rest and give yourself a break, and not, we still push ourselves to greatness. But it's like, I'm not going to run a marathon and not stop for a drink of water.
Wow.
You have to take a break and reflect on it and recharge and get your power back, and then push through to the end.
I've got a mentor, a young guy. He's in his 30s, and he's quite successful. He's got freedom, time freedom, and money freedom. And he talks about, some of us will, when I say some of us, I guess a large majority of people will say, man, that guy, it's in his genes, or he's just, he's anything he touches turns to gold, or she touches turns to gold. And it's like they're lucky. And I don't believe that there's luck, right? And I believe that anybody that seeks that greatness, like a Michael Jordan, like a Tiger Woods, like people say, man, they're just great at whatever they do. That's not the case, right? I mean, because Charles Barkley, he was great at basketball, but I think he sucks at golf, right? He had a TV show about how bad he was. But all of these guys and girls that are great at things, they still practice, right? So it's something that we just saw from the selling agency, and she's a sharp lady, is that we say fail early, fail fast, fail often, and fail in increments, not in entirety. So think about that. So the only way to fail is by keep doing, right? And that's why these guys, do you think that Tiger Woods needs to practice golf? No, he's already great, but he keeps doing it so he can go to the next level, right? And so I think going over and over and over, repetition and persistency is one of those ways to go from good to great. Because I was at a seminar a couple of weeks ago, and the guy said, if you take it in your head and you say and believe, man, I'm good at that, whatever it might be, I'm good at selling, you'll never master it. And I thought that was, man, so powerful.
Yeah, Daniel Pink has in one of his books, and I can't remember which one it is, but he talks a lot about the pursuit of mastery, right? It's you have to be constantly pursuing it. When people ask, for our improv comedy theater, for Carolina Improv, when people say, why do your performers practice? Well, we're practicing the ability to be in the moment. We're practicing the ability to be active listeners. We're practicing the ability to collaborate and support people. We're exercising our brain muscle. If we want to get better at those things, we have to exercise. Again, I go back to the race analogy. If you want to improve your speed and your time, you have to keep doing it to get there. So it's about the constant pursuit of mastery. And I think some people are really charged by that too. Like, I'm motivated about mastery. I'm competitive. I want to be great out of my own desire, because I don't know, it's like an adrenaline high for me.
Right. It is for me too, and a lot of the folks that we get on the call, I think that are experts, that they the only way that they got to be an expert is that in the beginning they sucked, right? They weren't good. Maybe they were okay, and they had a little bit of charisma. But in the beginning, we all suck at whatever it is, even if it's a job. If you don't work for yourself, but you slowly get better and you train. You get a little bit more better at the exercise, and then you become, okay, and then you become good, and then you become better, you become great. But then I guess pinnacle would be like unconscious competent, right? And you could do it. And how do you get to that mastery? And what do you have to do? Because once you're there, you don't stop. The journey's not over. You got to keep going.
Yeah, I have an interesting example about that going back to my comedy theater. The mission of going to improv is to personally and professionally develop people. And we develop them through our classes, and you've taken one. We develop them by giving them the opportunity to perform on stage. And it takes commitment to doing it. It takes a commitment to keep going in the process. But here's what I've seen just from managing a theater of performers, which you can really equate to any kind of business. I tune into them as a leader. So they come in as a performer, but then they hit a plateau where they sort of lose, I don't want to say desire and passion, they get bored. So how do I retain them and keep them interested? Well, then I give them other options. Then I go, now it's time for you to learn how to be a director. Now it's time for you to learn how to be a teacher. Now it's time for you to learn how to be a corporate trainer. And we continue to escalate them to keep them motivated, inspired. So when you talk about good to great, and just that's a lot about, that book's a lot about leadership. It's also a leader's job to get people to great, to keep them and take them along on the journey so that they don't stay comfortable and they don't stay in the status quo. So what are you doing to inspire and motivate others in your organization and on your own team and yourself?
Wow.
What's next?
Do you find the folks that you've encountered that actually achieve that greatness, like you? What's awesome as a teacher, as you are, and you teach people how to get greatness. Do you see that once they go from that good, and maybe they were that person that was inside of a shell, and they blossom out, and they get better, they get good. I mean, that's such a rewarding thing. But do you find where now they become the teacher? How about that? Absolutely. How awesome is that?
Yes. It's so awesome. I look at some of our teachers within the theater that are brilliant and in different areas better than me, have their own talents as performers. The majority of our performers are definitely better than me. It is about bringing them to greatness, even within my own clients, the entrepreneurial clients we work with. I have one locally in Myrtle Beach who's about to open a health and wellness center with packaged food and coaching and how to get healthy. And I've watched her go from good to great in 24 months, constantly pushing herself. So it's really cool to be part of that journey with other people, to watch their greatness happen.
Great. Yeah. How about this quote? The greatness, and it's from many years ago, so it's in the male perspective. It says the greatness of a man's power is the measure of his surrender. So with that, and we all realize it was written many years ago, so that's why it doesn't say hers. But with that, it is talking about humility there and being humble. And I don't think that I've ever seen anybody in my life that's come across as somebody with greatness or mastery skills that was not humble. How much of a part of the greatness process do you think that being humble is?
I think it's a huge part, if not the majority of it. You have to be willing to surrender. I had something happen over the weekend with my team that was a little frustrating and aggravating. And what frustrates me, I have no problem surrendering and admitting where I went wrong. What frustrates me is when people poke at you to be like, look what you did. Look what you did. You're wrong. And they're looking to catch you in something wrong. And I had to check myself. And instead of getting overly angry about it, I just had to be like, yeah, I'm wrong. And
yes,
and now what? it's a constant growth opportunity to surrender and be humble, because you learn from it. And guess what? We're human, and that's the hard part about being a leader, is that people put you on a pedestal and expect you to have this amazing greatness. And I get that as a leader, but we're human. I'm not superhuman. I think we talk about success too, right? Success doesn't happen overnight, but people, I'm sure this has happened to you. This has happened to me. People are like, oh my gosh, look at how successful Gina is. It comes so easy to her. I've heard people say that behind my back. It comes so easy to her. I'm like, really? You're just starting to see our success after 8 years of investment to get there. It didn't happen overnight.
Right. I had this conversation yesterday with someone, and they say, "Man, you're just so awesome on doing the videos online and doing the computer work, you know." And I say, "Well, dude, it didn't happen overnight, right? It's like everyone thinks there's a company like Uber, they're an overnight success. Man, they were in the process how many years before they even got there? And there's no such thing as an overnight success. So with that, there's no such thing as an overnight greatness either. The process of getting good at this blab that I have so much more to learn is that I had to start. Like I had to take that first step and be uncomfortable and have technical difficulties and just embrace it. And we've had them together. And so I love what you said, that it doesn't come easy. Right now, what you're seeing maybe is looks like everything that Gina does comes easy to her, but there was such a learning curve, you know. And Daryl said it perfect on here. He says, if you don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. Right? Absolutely, man. Amen to that. So I love, for any of our viewers got any questions or how about some nuggets from you guys? What do you tell your team to get greatness? Because if you're on this blab right now, let me tell you, I know that you are one of the great leaders because you understand what the technology is, you're embracing it, and you're joining us. Feel free to join us and talk a little bit.
And maybe my friend Sean of the selling agency wants to get on, because she is quite brilliant. And amazing. I don't know what she's doing. She might not want to get on camera today, but I'm happy that she jumped on, so that's cool. But she's amazingly brilliant.
That's awesome.
Come on, Sean.
I'm finishing contracts now.
Oh, she's finishing contracts.
Oh,
I hope I'm included in one of those contracts.
Oh, she's gonna play for a minute. There she is.
I knew I could coax her out.
That's awesome.
Here she is, straight from Memphis, Tennessee.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how are you doing?
Great.
I can always get you to come out and play.
Well,
that's awesome.
My brain is going numb, so I saw that you were going to be on, so I turned you off for a few minutes and have this energy, stamina. You could probably do this all day long, I have a feeling.
Oh, it's so much fun. I love doing this. So welcome to our blab. I know you've been on a couple times, and it's nice to meet you through the blab. And how about tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're so great, because Gina has talked about you off of blab.
Well, thanks. So, oh my gosh, meeting Gina it was serendipitous. We were supposed to meet. She is a sister from another mister. We met. We're both on a ticket to speak at the same conference, and it's amazing. She did something that no one else has ever done anytime I've spoken at a conference, which was she looked up the speakers and she connected on LinkedIn. Actually, she had Heather do it, her indispensable Heather, who I'm sure she's talked about too on Blab. And she connected with me on LinkedIn, and she said, "Hey, you look like we have a lot of stuff in common. Let's talk." And that was it last September, I think? That was it.
Yeah,
like game
September.
over. We have collaborated together. I've brought her into some of my clients. We are creating a product together. We have taken a weekend to get together and do the business meet of your business. It's just been fantastic. So it's so important to find people to put in your tribe. And Gina is one of those people in my tribe that we've not known each other for that long, but it's just been such a profound meeting that we have, and so many good things will come from this too. So I'm in Memphis, but I have clients all over the country, and soon to be worldwide. And I built a system called the Selling Agency. After so many years of having been in sales, I realized that my customers bought me for my perspective and the solutions that I created, and then whatever I sold was simply a byproduct of knowing me. And I saw that there was a profound lack of solutions for people in small business to build sales strategies. There are, thousands, maybe if not hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies, but there were no selling agencies. Someone to help small businesses build a sales strategy, wrap processes and efficiencies and tools around it so that they could get out and sell. Because selling is your competitive advantage. And how do you do that? How do you figure that out? What do you do? If people don't know, people start businesses because they have a talent, they see a need, they want to fill a void. And then sure enough, there comes a time where they hit a wall where they're, they have slow margin or slow revenue, stagnant sales and shrinking margins. And they need to do something about that. What they need to do is to start selling. So that is why the Selling Agency exists. And it has been a wild ride since I made that decision. And it's just, we're helping people sell every day. I wish I could count the number of jobs. I was just thinking about the other day, just in the 3 years we've been around, we've created probably at least a dozen jobs, or if not more. That's for small business, and that's an economy. Those are tax drivers. I mean, it's amazing what you can do when you put your mind to it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I know you said it. How long ago did you start the Selling Agency?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. That's awesome. Well, my hat's off to you for doing jumping into the arena. It's a tough thing. I did it 26 years ago, and I've never worked for anybody other than my teenage years. And even then, Ron Beck, that's on here right now, he remembers I started while I was a teenager, a jet ski rental company, just because I thought people would rent jet skis, and they did. But I wasn't great at my financial skills, so that was another story. And anyway, let's just share that. But I appreciate you being on here. I love sales myself. And I'd like to maybe do a Naked Truth about sales. And if you would join me on it, that'd be fun if you would do that with me. So
it's evolved so much around how people buy that sales is actually going through a crisis right now as a profession. It's really hard to attract people who've been in sales and have had success before. Many of them are faltering right now because they're not meeting the needs of the modern buyer. They're not showing up where people buy. They're not selling how people buy. So that would be a fabulous blab to do.
Well, and let's just talk about a second, because I geek out about this stuff, and I apologize, but there's such a difference. There's such a difference between a good salesperson and then a great salesperson. And I think, and I had this conversation yesterday with Ron Beck, and a great salesperson, I think, is the person that's out there looking for the best interest of the customer. And a good salesperson may be somebody that could turn a lot of deals. Right? They can turn a lot of deals, but they're not necessarily they know how to, they know how to convince rather than really consult. And I'm a firm believer from the consultative approach in sales that we're there for the longevity of the customer and the lifetime value, not the one-time one-night stand deal. So what do you think about that as a selling expert?
Well, I think we've actually moved beyond the consultative approach. The consultative approach was revolutionary in selling, and that salespeople brought expertise to the party and they help customers through their buying decisions. But now we're actually moving on to the collaborative economy, where it's in order to have those clients for longer than one term, one contract, we've got to collaborate with them on solutions. Salespeople have to show up and demonstrate leadership and how they will lead change management and how they will bring more resources than just their own to the party. And that's the interesting thing here is that takes a different personality than what many people of yesteryear used to be in sales. The Mavericks and the lone gun, the lone rangers and people like that who show up, shoot them up, close the deal and leave. Those folks are finding it very difficult to succeed in this new economy where you have to demonstrate collaboration with your customers beyond just consulting about your products. It's not working for people who don't bring that personality to their customers. So it has changed a lot. And if you see people you all have salespeople. I know, like I said, I know Gina geeks out about selling too, but you all know salespeople who have been in sales for a really long time. And, these past 3, 4, 5 years, whereas they used to maybe change jobs every 2, 3 years, 4 years, they're boomeranging on jobs about every 9 months. I see this in people on LinkedIn all the time because they're not able to get their feet underneath them. They're not able to meet people where they are anymore because they don't have the personality and they're not using the tools that modern sellers to use in order to be collaborative, in order to nurture relationships, in order to be multi-threaded instead of just having one contact within an account. There's a big struggle. So.
Yeah, I would think that the collaborative type sales, and I do it as well, is that it's what we need to know from, because of how old I am, I probably show with my gray hair, is that it started off doing quick sales and closing the deal, boom, moved over to consultative, and now in the collaborative, that each evolution, it seemed like the selling process got longer. Yeah. But with that, we also maintain the lifetime value of the customer, that we're building a relationship. We're not a vendor, we're a partner, right? That's strong.
That's the collaboration piece there. Yeah, absolutely. And it has gotten much longer. This is, I think, a 2014, 2015 study from MarketBridge that said that the buyer journey is 22% longer than what it was just 5 years ago. And there's a multitude of reasons why that exists. Is, you've got buyers are doing their own research now. They're looking on social media for peer reviews. They're asking people. There's a larger internal buying committee, formal and informal, because they're sourcing other people's experiences. They're forming their own decision-making criteria now because they can. They're not really relying on salespeople to tell them what the deal is. And the other reason for that too is that, and this is a big key to where this collaboration piece comes in, is that, nothing happens in a vacuum. It never used to happen in a vacuum, but, sales decisions now, when you buy a piece of software, it doesn't just benefit production, or it doesn't just involve production. It involves the IT department, and how do you communicate that? That involves the HR department. So much more now of what we purchase in as a buyer involves so many more people in our company that's where the buying community is larger. The influencers of the buying decisions are larger, and that's why the process takes longer. And you've got to be able to understand that and understand the currency of all those influencers to be able to woo them, to be able to actually sell them. You've got to be able to collaborate with them and customize those solutions when and if you can.
Right. So I think it's really funny sometimes, when we're in a social setting that, and you've probably heard this before, as people talk about, they go like, man, my cousin Jimmy is such a good, you need to talk to him. He's such a good sales guy. He could sell snow to an Eskimo. and that old saying is so it's so crazy now because I think that people don't realize that sales, what you do and what you teach, is the fundamental of our entire economy. It's our foundation of the economy, that nothing else would move unless sales took place in whatever company. Like everybody on this blab, everybody on the internet right now either sells something or works for a company that sells something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ones that become great companies have a great sales process in place, right? It's not that they got a good sales process, and they may have a good product, but they got a great sales process. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely, because the biggest piece of process is consistency. Gina, when you coach your coaching clients, I mean, probably how much of the time do you address consistency in what they do?
Constantly. It's not just consistency, it's commitment to the work that you're doing. You have to be consistent. I think one of the biggest problems a lot of people have is follow-up, right? Just the consistency of follow-up and circling back around. This weekend that I spent with my clients, I showed them, I carry around like a journal that is where all my leads are. Like, I don't use a CRM. It's just what works for me, like a physical, visual thing that triggers me to they were amazed by like this old school way of doing things, but I remember how to follow up from it. So whatever your process is to work for you, like that's a process you need to have a process. And getting back into the collaboration piece, it really does take collaboration to find out what the client wants and needs, and not just go in with the mindset of here's the widget I have to sell you. Because sometimes they don't need your widget. They need your widget to be a little customized, or they need a different form of your widget that doesn't exist yet. Just last week I did a pitch that I lost the deal, and I don't really care because it didn't turn out ideal for me. And it was mostly because the client didn't know what they wanted. Yeah. It was a selection by committee. The committee couldn't agree with each other. Yeah, they're like fighting with each other over what they all want. And they ended up hiring, I was just surprised who they hired, but I think they ended up hiring someone that, well, she worked with a competitor. We're going to hire her for that reason. And they really didn't know what they wanted. And it's really getting clear too with like going through a discovery process in your sales process of what is it that they want. If they don't know what they want, I cannot be their mama. They got to go. They got to go back to the drawing board and figure it out, and then call me.
That's that whole thing. That's part of the greatness, though, too. Conversely, the whole topic has been about good to great, and we're talking about how we become great. How about our customers? How about if we look for great customers? Like, there's a definition for a great customer, right? And part, like for my business at Duplicates, my one business here at Duplicates, a great customer is not price oriented. They're conscious. But they're not. They know that there's a difference between the lowest cost and the lowest price, right? And that is part of that definition of a great customer for me. That buys what I want to sell at the price I want to sell it and understands the value that we give it to them at. Right?
I was going to say, a customer that sees your value. Why would we want to work with anyone who doesn't see our value? The relationship's going to suck.
Well, it's
not worth the money.
So many people get into business thinking that I could do it cheaper, right? And nobody could be the Walmart of whatever industry they're in.
No.
Yeah, go for you. If you want to go with Walmart, you're going to look like you're wearing old denim. What's their Old Glory blue jeans? Go for it. Be the Old Glory blue jeans of your business.
Hey, don't fun of Old Glory. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. What's
interesting is that most people. What's that?
She went away for a second. She's having she got a refresh.
She's like in an airport.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that when most people start out to start their business, start talking about their business, they talk about all the ways that they're similar to someone else. They talk about all the things that they do that are just like everyone else. But if you look at the psychology, I never imagined how much time I'd spend on the psychology, biology, and sociology of how we make decisions when I'm teaching people how to sell. But we make decisions based on differences. We don't make decisions based on on similarities. We look for the differences, and we look to exclude all the similarities, and then we make decisions based on the differences. So
that's awesome.
If you cannot find those differences, people cannot find your differences compared to someone else, then you become a commodity, which is the death wish in the death knell for margin and growth and any of those other things. So if you cannot, clearly, quickly, and succinctly differentiate yourself from people and, stand out amongst a crowd, you become that commodity. Everything is price driven. So if you take away one thing, when you read the selling agency blogs and our emails and everything, we scream about sell picture differences. Different is better than better. If you're better than someone else, I can't take credit for that. Sally Hogshead said that. She's fabulous woman. Studies fascination of brands and of people and stuff. She said, different is better than better, because that is how people make decisions.
That's so awesome, man. Daryl Ellens, he had something very, very good to say, because as a small business owner, and I'm always looking for talent, too many people expect top salespeople to work commission only. Here you are, you're a selling expert, and I don't want to put you on the spot. If I do, just defer out or act like the internet went down. And what's your take on that? Because as a business owner and somebody that's in sales, honestly, Daryl, I'm not arrogant, but I'm confident in my ability to sell if I believe in the product. That if the commission was the right structure, I would work only commission.
Right. Well, it's happening less and less now because the buyer journey is longer. It's taking longer, and people want more collaboration. They want more customized things. You know, they're mid to late last year, there was, I forget what the guy's name was, but he wrote it's a very successful company. He wrote some posts on LinkedIn and his blog saying, I'll never hire a salesperson again. And that just outraged people. They're like, you know, oh, you're slamming salespeople. And his reasons for doing it were very interesting. But what he was saying was, we can sell without salespeople. Now, I think that that's okay and possible in some industries, but I think you still need salespeople to deliver those insights and things. There are different models now for selling. Just like, you know, there's different ways to buy, there's got to be different models to reflect the way that they sell. One of the things that we do, and you just sort of like opened this door perfectly for me, John, was that I believe very, 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 very strongly that if you're a small, mid-sized business, or even in any organization, that sales is a result. It's not an action. That sales is a department. It is not selling. If you have a car and it has 4 tires, why would you only inflate 1 tire and expect to get you anywhere efficiently? Why are people only training the salespeople to sell? So we build selling organizations because it is about everyone's contribution to recognizing opportunities, promoting opportunities, and having customers understand what you're trying to achieve. And where did John go? And here I am now on a blab that I've just jumped on talking to myself. I don't know how this happened. Gina said, hey, come on, Sean. And I said, I'm working on contracts. And I said, okay, I'll play for a minute. And now I sit here alone. Hello. Let's see, here's a question. Would you pay commission of a few cents to $1 to something that should sold a $40, $50 product? You know, I think that probably not, because there's some different ways that you can manage selling, social media, that kind of stuff. So KJ, Mintz, AIO, to answer your question, I think that you could leverage technology better rather than paying out someone commission a few cents to $1 for a $40 to $50 product. Hey, look, people.
Sorry about that. I got stuck on my with my internet over here, and it went out. So I'm glad that you ran with it. So, hey, Daryl, welcome to the Blab, man, and the Naked Truth. Appreciate you interacting with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing something, I guess, a little bit similar to the selling agency, other than I work more with business people and entrepreneurs, helping them more with social selling and thought leadership stuff. I love sales, but it's changing so much. I spent 30-something years in outside sales. Yeah. And then switched over to online in 2010. And so there is such a big difference.
Well, there is.
And I look at all these startups.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and so many of them keep on building their technology and features because they're afraid to test what they've got. And so they keep on saying, well, let's add this, let's add this. Meanwhile, nobody wants what they want to begin with. And if they would have had a salesperson go out there and do some testing for it, they would have found out earlier where to pivot and where not to pivot. But I hate it when people, especially if you've got to do some outside stuff, if you have a regular job where you're close to work, you don't need transportation. But when you're in sales, you're expected to drive a newer car, pay for all the expenses that are going in there. If you're doing stuff downtown, you're looking at $30, $40, $50 a day just for parking. never. So you're at $1,500 a month before you even put a dollar into your pocket. And then it's always people who have no sales experience that say, well, we should put them on commission only.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I'm starting to want to get into the very specific words that probably start with an F, just to let them know my feelings on that. You know.
Well, that's an old paradigm, and it doesn't work anymore. And many of the intersections of where I encounter businesses are where they don't have a sales program yet, and so similar to what you're talking about, it's time to build a sales program. And so people, though we all act like modern buyers, we all have phones and Amazon Prime accounts and stuff like that. When it comes to selling, we all get out the tablets and the chisel and start banging away. And most people go back to their last impression and what they think or they know about selling, which is, the independent salesperson, and they roll in and they're always, they always be closing, all that kind of crap. But, modern sales forces aren't even like that anymore. And so, you've got a tremendous rise in growth in inside sales and inside sales teams. There's a great, go to InsideSales.com. There's a great summit coming up March 9th with over 40 of the world's top sellers in it.
I'm registered for that.
But, there's just a tremendous shift in many companies of things that are going, happening differently. So it's time. It's definitely time to do things differently and to accept and shift and pivot into new paradigms to reflect the new ways people buy.
Yeah. I know we've gotten off the good to great, but I geek out about the sales stuff. So what I think is that we do have different channels of communication, which has opened up the opportunity for different types of sales, and I get that. And what I think though, and what I feel in my heart is, folks, when we buy online, because I buy both ways. I buy online and I buy from salespeople. But I think when we buy stuff online, that we're actually buying most of the time a commodity, right? It's usually we're looking for the best price online because we can just find it easier and better. We do reviews, and we ultimately make our purchasing decision based on trust and confidence that they're going to fulfill what they're selling us. I got somebody calling in. Let's go ahead and take this guy to come in. But I guess what I was saying is that I think people get desensitized to the online, and that you have a bigger advantage.
Like, I can't. That shit is dysfunctional within a motherfucking self. And you was on.
Sorry, I had to kick her off. I apologize. You guys, was that any one of your friends?
No.
Great. All right.
I think she was maybe on another blab.
She must have been on a different blab. That was the
either that or she got
that might have been the blab for good. We're talking about the great blab here. So, anyway, and Daryl, just to edit a little bit about what I said regarding the commission only is absolutely, I get it, man. When you got those that information coming in or those things that we got to pay for out of our pocket, our gas, our parking, our lunches, and all that thing, that definitely needs to be part of their compensation. I believe wholeheartedly, but I also believe that that commission based off of what you're able to do as a salesperson and a top performer and as a great salesperson should be part of that compensation. That way you're not has any type of ceiling on your income. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it speaks to a couple different things. So, there's the risk reward, especially if you're talking about someone being, full commission. I've been in all of them. In my, 15, 20 years of sales career I work for enterprise sized businesses. I've had my own business, et cetera. You're talking about risk reward. It's, and then there's the length of time it takes to achieve that reward. So, if you're talking about now hiring people to and paying them only commission to sell your product, what you're really looking at is a contractor. And that's kind of honestly the only relationship you want with that type of person is a contractor or a vendor, because the benefit of having someone who is part of your sales team, which is part of your business, extends beyond those individual sales. It's about benefiting your culture. It's about being, an overall ambassador and advocate for your business. It's about, recruiting and hiring and training, contributing to the bottom line of the company. I have been in many organizations where in the sales capacity, I have contributed marketing ideas. I have contributed, proposals. I have found employees. I mean, there really is not a lot that you're going to get from someone if you're paying them only commission. It's a contractor relationship, quite honestly. The loyalty, the long-term relationships, and all the other benefits you're going to be missing. So I have clients want that all the time. We want someone, we just want someone to go out and sell, and we'll just pay them exclusively.
Here's Miss Danica. Here's Miss Danica again. Hey, Miss Danica.
Now let me get my notes.
Okay.
Time for the reading. Now, who do I want to go to first? Who do I want to address?
I don't know. What would you like to address?
Ladies here who can't close on their house, who's having trouble with their marriage, blah, 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 this and that and other bitch. You just dropped the whole motherfucking gauntlet down. When we gonna check your shit?
All right.
Yeah, she's on another blab.
She's selling something.
I think it's International Women's Day as well.
That's crazy.
Looks like we have John sort of frozen.
That I'm going to make some notes about what I just said, because that's going to make a great blog post about hiring someone, paying them commission only versus, having a sales team. It does make a big difference.
Well, it won't be long before the corporates figure out that when you have the longer sales cycle, that they'll bring people in to bring in their friends and contacts into the cycle, and then they will probably get rid of a lot of the salespeople once the pipeline is filled. It will actually become a business model. If you look at a lot of companies, they're already operating like this. Because if you see how many of these companies are hiring people in every city, it's their business model. It's they grab people, bring in your friends and family to sell to. And myself, I don't sell to friends and family. I sell quite a few different things over the years, and I'm not going to phone up my friends every time I've got something new to sell. And hey, do you want to buy this? If I can't sell it to the general public, I don't want to be selling it. I'm not dependent on friends and family to buy whatever I'm.
That's your whole direct marketing institution right there.
But it's not just direct marketing; it's corporate as well that's taking on that business model.
I see what you're saying, and I've seen that, but I've seen it in a different way where, there's an influx of hiring and then there's layoffs and hiring, and they do this with a sales team quite regularly, because in so many of your enterprise size businesses, what they have is it's let's focus on top line margin, then it's your top line, then it's margin, then it's top line, it's margin. And there's this pendulum that swings back and forth, and you lose great sales talent that way. People hire sales talent focusing on margin, and then it's, we don't have enough sales, let's focus on top line revenue, it's cut prices, and it's actually really stupid. And it's very similar to what you said. It's hiring practices that are, it's a business model, and
well, Glassdoor is doing a good job of keeping track of that now, because now when you have 25 reps saying this is a bad company to work for, I wouldn't even think of sending these people a contract, never mind applying for work for them.
Not great. Definitely not great.
No. What area do you like? Do you like to go after in your business?
Where we really shine is highly competitive, highly commoditized, mature industries people who are really struggling with how to use technology and leverage social media and tools like that in selling. People have been, in industries that have been around for a really long time. And now, some of the infrastructure is collapsing in those industries where companies are buying up their competitors, and here comes an influx of cash to buy business. And so there's a lot of different things going on. But for me, mature industries, highly competitive, highly commoditized, that really need that differentiation factor are our key targets. We help them deeply differentiate their offer and their go-to-market strategies to profoundly connect with customers so they can earn more business.
Awesome.
How about you, John?
I had a couple things going on. Ask me the question again, Daryl.
The question is what type of industry are you going after? What sector of the market are you?
So I've got a couple different businesses that I started years ago. So one of them is a print and marketing firm that we specialize in direct mail. So it's business to business, and anywhere from large business to smaller businesses that want to really create a marketing strategy that doesn't send junk mail out, but sends what I call relevant mail. As a channel for communications and for their marketing messages. So that's the one business. I'm in a travel company also, and we help people that want to expand on their experiences, and we have a travel club. And then the other is a golf course that I partners in. So we go after the golfers coming down to Myrtle Beach. So diversified a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's quite interesting. If you're having a bad day, you can go golfing.
That's right. And then I'd have a worse day because I suck at golf. But no, but I tell you what, guys, we've been going. We're on here for an hour and 16 minutes. I try to keep them to about an hour, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day and coming on and having fun with us. I appreciate that. The Selling Agency at thesellingAgency.com. I appreciate you so much for coming on. And Daryl, also, if you want to get a little plug in for your business, type it in there. And, we try to do these Naked Truth Labs every Monday, every Friday around 2:00. If you got a topic that you want us to talk about, shoot it over to us. And I'd love to have you guys on again as a guests. I loved it, man. It was awesome to meet you and your dynamics. And I love how the whole thing evolved from start off with Jonathan and Gina, and it turned over to a couple other folks. So we actually had a little bit of comedy today on as well. So I appreciate it. So Chocolate Face Media, is that your company?
Yes, it's the one I'm launching right now.
We'll definitely check Daryl out there. And guys, I appreciate everything. So
thanks,
you guys,
John.
we're going to be back on. We got this recorded, so let's connect outside of Blab on some other social channels, and I'll get you the.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Great. I'll get you guys the recording. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks so much,
Thanks
John.
a lot. We'll see you on Friday at 2:00, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Daryl. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.